From Indianapolis, Indiana, this is the Double Take Sports Talk Show with the Watch Brothers. And here they are, ladies and gentlemen, your hosts, Darrell and Darren Watts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Double Take Sports Talk with the Watts Brothers. Welcome to our podcast with me, Darren Watts. Say hello to Darrell Watts II. D-Dub, what's going on?
Yo, what's shaking? Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast, Darren Watts. What is happening?
Not much here. You know it. Another podcast, another day.
That's right.
Always a good day for a podcast.
Always a good day for a podcast, whether if it's another podcast or our own.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So on the docket today, we have Quiz-mania question of the day, where Darrell challenges me with different questions to research and find answers for. And then we'll have our Double Take Sports Court, where I will bring up different variety of topics that happened throughout the week, trending, what's trending, and well, what was trending, what's happening, things like that. Today's going to cover maybe a couple things, 3 things at the most, about things that's been going on or will be going on. And then we'll have our Quiz-mania answer from Quiz-mania question of the day, and then we'll have the final thoughts. Darrell, ready?
Let's do it.
You got it.
Let's do it.
Quiz-mania question of the day. Darrell, when you're getting ready, floor is yours.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, of course, Quiz-mania. Here's your Quiz-mania question of the day. Of course, I usually challenge Darren when it comes down to different various sports topics and anything of any sort. So, Darren, this is going to be a challenge for you. Well, maybe. So, you ready to hear the Quiz-mania question of the day?
Go ahead.
All righty. Here we go. The worst win-loss record to qualify for the NBA playoffs. What team was that? This is all time. This has absolutely no limit. This could be extended from ABA to NBA to whatever league that it was. For any time, this is the worst win-loss record to qualify for the NBA playoffs.
Okay. I might have an idea.
Okay. So with that, that is Quiz-mania question of the day. Question. We will have that answer for you. We'll try to reveal that answer.
Yeah.
Later on in that
Yeah.
We will have that answer for you later on in this podcast. So, with that being said, we're going to move on from that and head on right on over to our Double Take Sports Court. Darren, whenever you get ready, the floor is yours.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start Double Take Sports Court. Got one topic that is very near and dear to me and Darrell, and then actually it's 2 of them that's near and dear to me and Darrell, and the other one is practically not. Let's start with that one. I've seen here recently, I don't know why it's trending or what's happening, but I've seen a lot of older articles, but it still seems like that is wanting to trend for some odd reason over the past week. And it's about the NBA age limitation. They're trying to put an age limit to where you could be, I believe it's 20 years or older before you get into the NBA. And part of that reason is because of a lot of scandals, a lot of issues of controversy, and everything that happens with an NBA player without the discipline of being able to go into the NBA without these scandals. But I have one problem with that. If this is to prevent scandals and people getting the NBA players getting in trouble with the law, I don't understand what makes this any better by limiting them to 2 years in college before they could be able to go into the NBA. Because now they're in college, they are just as much worse off to me personally because they're doing a lot of incidents in college far more than they are in the NBA before they even get into the NBA. So I don't know what's the limitation in actually them going to say, hey, you got to at least do 2 years before you go into the NBA. I mean, look at Kobe Bryant. He came straight out of the NBA. I'm sorry, straight out of high school to go into the NBA. Got into controversy years later involving a woman. Tim Duncan. Did Tim Duncan even go to college? I think Tim Duncan went to college.
Yeah, he went to college.
Tim Duncan went to college, but did not have any issues. I don't think that it's about limiting these future NBA players to 2 years of college before they can even enter the NBA. To me, it's all about starting at home. I don't think it has anything to do with college or anything like that. I think it all starts at home. That's just me. Darrell, what's your take?
Here's my thing about that. You brought it up, and this is one of the things that kind of captures my attention. One of the other things that, and I also agree with you to the fact that why are you actually limiting the age, age limit to actually get into the NBA? The one thing y'all got to understand is that y'all are catching these things so many years too late. That's one thing. And then on top of that, they're in college. They've already made these scandals. They've created these scandals. And then years later, that's when everything is coming back up. Now, the one thing that you cannot stop is the ability to catch these scandals. If you see something, then it has to be said. Apparently, if y'all working in cahoots, it should not be the fact that the NBA should limit age to actually bring in, players from because of these scandals. I just think it's absolutely backwards in my personal. I think it's actually backwards to actually use age limit to actually bring on. Now I understand, like, if 14-year-old want a job and work, but due to reasons because of school and they're not exactly legal, them are things that you put into consideration. But in college, they already done, they are pretty much on grown status. And yes, you have rules that you have to apply by. But once again, if you're working in cahoots, that's how things comes out in scandals. How are you going to catch these, and how in the world are y'all going to actually put an age limit to that? I mean, for players, future NBA players to go into the NBA. It just don't make sense. If somebody can actually shed some light into this situation, man, I would love to hear this.
Two things, and I'm just going to be real. I'm just going to be real when I say it. Number one, I think for the most part, role models can be a thing with this. I listened to Charles Barkley where he said that he's not a role model to anybody. And I can understand your reasons for that. But you have to understand that people are watching you regardless if you do not want to be a role model or not. Young folks are watching you. So it doesn't matter if you don't want to be a role model or not. You still should set yourself in that position to behave as a human being, not only because that it's necessary, but also because you should anyway. You should anyway. Why should you be out here acting the fool? But he gambles, I believe. Don't Barkley gamble?
If he hasn't already given it up, I think he's still.
Yeah, he gambles and all this good stuff. You don't show yourself as a role model, but you're also showing that you don't even have self-respect for yourself to even be that person to set up for the people behind you.
The people that's watching you. Yeah.
So now you're sitting here doing all of this, I don't want to hear it coming from your mouth saying these kids are trouble. No, I don't want to hear that from you. Remember, you're not a role model. Why do it matter to you?
Exactly.
It don't matter. It don't even matter. And then the flip side of it. Excuse me.
Yeah. That's not about right.
Pardon me. Whew, okay. Now I think I'm better. Flip side of this. I'm not going to say any names. And Darrell, you're going to know where I'm going with this, but I'm not going to say any names. This in particular person went to college and didn't even want maybe like a half a year before this person started getting into some trouble. Let me take that back. Not getting into legal trouble, but just started doing things he had no business doing. I'm not saying any names. I believe you know who it is. You probably don't, but it goes to show you set these kids off to college. What makes you think that they're going to be straight disciplined going into college, going into the NBA?
Yeah, with all these, when kids go to college, you know what that means to kids? That means it's freedom,
Mm-hmm.
wild parties, acting the fool, and all the
Which brings back to the first point. Role models are essential. I don't think it has anything to do with limiting age into the NBA. It's all about your role models. It's all about connection. It's all about being able to sit down, spend time with people, and get them to understand certain things. Let them know that you're behind them, but you gotta go about it the right way. I do not think that limiting age is the issue. Because if that was the case, most of these young kids should be limited in church. But at the same time, it shouldn't be that way. They should be able to do what they want to do. They should be able to do what they want to do in church. There should be no age limitation. And there's not an age limitation. Some churches probably do, some don't. But you should not have an age limitation.
Yeah, they probably just divide it up, into, age groups, which is something that could play a big role into that. So,
and not only age group, but you could still go down and be with the adults and still do what you normally would do if you was with younger groups. But limiting age in the NBA, I do not think is the issue. It's the role models and connecting with others. Those young kids that are wanting to look to go into the NBA needs a connection, needs preparation far more than anything. I don't think that preparation in college is going to necessarily do because there's not a lot of college professors that are actually wanting to go to that level from what I believe.
Because they're just there to do their job.
Exactly. They don't look at it as far more taking that next step. Only certain people see it as taking the next step, and model citizens should be able to do that, in my personal opinion, and it starts at home.
And like you said, when you talked about role models, you talked about how you set that example. Look at all the, not to go off subject or anything, but it just brings up the point. Look at all these rappers.
Yep.
And look at what all these kids are looking up to when they see these type of models.
Oh my goodness.
And look at what it's done to, not only the community, not only locally to the state, but the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bringing a lot of stuff that it just should not be brought into. Mm-hmm. So the fact of actually having some kind of connection, having some kind of understanding and stuff like that, that's why these Christian rappers now, they're trying to have these role models try to get off of these, regular rappers that sit up there, express themselves freely, unfiltered.
Yeah.
So yeah, liberty has absolutely nothing to do with it. You could be doing this stuff when you're 3 years old.
Yeah. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree, Darren. I agree. I agree to that.
And which speaks, we'll kind of switch it over a little bit here. And we talk about role models. We talking about limitation. Let's go deeper into limitation. This is one close and near and dear to me and you, Darrell. Gaming disorders. gaming addictions. They made this an official disorder, official addiction. They did research on it years ago. They wanted to talk about doing it, and they actually made it a disorder. I read the article on it. There is a gaming disorder. It's to me, I'm not gonna say it's far fetched, but it is to me a point where I don't necessarily think that it needed to be a disorder unless it is necessary. And I don't think a lot of I'm trying to think how to put this. I don't think a lot of students, young kids, have these addictions, but I think there's a limitation to that because again, it will all start at home. So there's a limitation. Darrell, when me and you were kids, we always had a limitation to play the game for 1 hour. Um, we played the game for 1 hour, and then that was it for the rest of the day, which didn't kick us into an addiction because we still did everything that we were to do. We still went to church. We still went to school. We still did everything that we were supposed to do as kids, being forced to. And even when we were teenagers, being young adults, we still did what we had to do. And even being adults right now, we are still doing what we're doing now. We wouldn't be doing this podcast. Instead, we'd be going straight into gaming. There are certain addictions to look out for as a part of gaming. I wouldn't call it an addiction. I think that gaming is a very good aspect of being able to strategize, brain power. That's just me. But then again, it's just about how you are raised. You just got to know and understand right from wrong. You just got to know your rights from wrong. And me and you game all the time. But we still do our normal responsibilities. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a roof over your head. I wouldn't have a roof over my head. We both live out by ourselves. We still have our responsibilities. We still play the game. We know when to, when not. And for this to be a disorder, I think it's kind of far-fetched. But if you do start taking things out of hand to where you are canceling a lot of things just so you can play the video game, because there are a lot of people that will play the games 24 hours out of the day, won't even sleep. That could be an addiction that can be talked about. But having a disorder, that kind of just threw me off in the disorder. Because if that was the case, if I wanted to have a day where I just wanted to sit at home and play video games all day, that don't mean that I have a disorder. I'm not putting anything off. It just all starts at home. I don't know, Darrell. What do you think?
I see where you're getting at. But here's what I think what they mean when they bring up, a disorder. Anything that is fairy tale. Got that follow San Andreas. If you're actually doing and using things in the state of a video game aspect, or saying something in the aspect of a video game perception, then they will call that a disorder. So, this is why I agree with you that this ain't as far-fetched. I could go right now and play NBA 2K18, and I could cite a scene from that game, and I got a disorder. This is real life stuff we're talking about here. This is stuff. This is the actual journey of real life, the path to NBA success. This is exactly what it is. Now, you could look at, what's that game? God of War, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto,
Fortnite.
You look at these games, some of the things on there could be, fairy tale,
But that, in my personal opinion, should not mean that some people have disorders. Yes, like you said there, if you actually just want to sit down and play the game at your own free will, that's what you should be able to do. You should be able to have that ability to do it. But it's about how you are raised, how you limit yourself, and boom, you wash your hands of the whole thing. Now that the fact, me and you, Darren, that we're grown, we play the game. We still go to work. We still do what we got to do. Using that as a fiction type of thing, I could understand to some extent. Not 100%. Not 100%. But in the state of how some things are, could be a disorder. Not all of them. Not all of them.
Well, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Do you believe that Twitch is helping with these addictions to video games, or are they not?
If people are using Twitch in the aspect to make money, absolutely not. No. If people are doing this for fun as their hobby, absolutely not. If people are going on here and being negative about how streaming is and stuff like that and using it in a very negative aspect, absolutely.
Because I love my video games.
Okay,
and I'm not
I
going
do
to stop
too.
and I'm not going to stop playing them.
And y'all not going to have me on the disorder list because I love my video games.
Or an addiction. Well, let me take back the addiction part of it. The addiction part of it would be far more of, if I am canceling things just to sit at home and play these video games.
And not sleeping.
Right. And, a desire to cut down but not being able to do it. Then, yeah, that would be far more of an addiction that probably would need to be fixed. But
exactly.
Even at that, I'm not giving up my video games. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I got news for you. I got mine up and running right now.
So do I.
So
do I. It's not happening. It's just not going to happen. I'm not about to give up the video games. I'm not. Even if I have a disorder, well, I'm going to cut down, but I'm not going to completely stop. I'm just not going to do that. Video games are very essential of my life.
We had, and Darrell came down to a point of time that we actually did slim down on playing the game. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't because we wanted to. It was because we had lives.
Yep, we had to. So,
that just tells me that I think that now some researchers probably do is different states may have this kind of problem. But the problem goes deeper than just having these disorders and addictions. It goes way further down than that. It's, the real addiction to it being, a ton of them. You're not trying to connect with people. You're just sitting at home, isolating. The problems go deeper than that. It goes way beyond deeper than that. But see, that's the thing. You have options for that. Did you know people make friends off of playing video games?
And they do, but the issue is far more of having, that time to actually get out of your home, connect with people, talk with people, be a part of the community, different things like that. Most people just isolate themselves from the world and don't care. Don't give a care in the world. And it's a big time addiction, according to researchers, to not be able to sit down and connect with people. It goes deeper than that. But just the basics of just having a disorder, I don't know. I'll call it addiction for more than a disorder.
Me too. I'll call it more than a disorder. But like I said, a lot more problems could go a lot deeper than, any other part of the state or something like that. That's why they illustrate these researchers because of that. Mm-hmm. Maybe the state of Idaho. I'm just throwing it out as an example. It's not necessarily true. This is fairy tale. I'm just saying. maybe the state of Idaho could have a significant problem, with, gamers. They probably have a disorder. So they had to probably compile some research about it. Or maybe 15 states in the U.S. are having this problem, and they probably had to compile some research. I mean, to me, it's just like you said. It's just know when to put your limit on things. Parenting and all that good stuff that comes into play real well. Some may not help, some does. It help does, but some it may not help. And you never know what the window's down to.
All right, and which speaks of, let me not say speaks of, Sunday Fun Day, particularly, of course, me and you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Let's try that again.
Okay, you agree with yourself again, man. Try again. No. Not at all, kind sir. Nope. Hey, all right. Yeah.
Whatever. Let's try this again. I had to sneeze, so that didn't help matters. Sunday Fun Day, of course, me and you, Darrell, we play the video game a lot. Sunday Fun Day is what we do almost every time we have days off or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, what is your ideal Sunday Fun Day? What do you like to do on a Sunday that's considered fun to you besides video games?
I work a lot. So, sometimes I just like to lounge around and not do a thing.
Yep, that's my ideal. I like to sit down and watch old sports games, good old sports games. The old Indiana Pacers, Chicago Bulls, the New York Knicks, Houston Rockets.
Yeah, get on the YouTube and you start searching
Yeah,
that stuff. And
then just watch old games. That's one of my things. Watching old sports games, watching old TV shows on DVDs, and it's just Sunday Fun Day for me. Besides sitting down, doing a podcast, playing video games, I like to be able to sit down and watch these old sports games, even throughout the week. But mainly on Sunday, I want to sit down and watch old NBA games, even old NFL games. I like to sit down and watch.
Absolutely.
I like to sit down and watch that too.
Now, dear, I have gotten myself into the mix. It's not old school, nothing of the sort. And I told you recently, I had bought all 7 games of the Chicago Cubs in the Cleveland Indians World Series of 2016.
Yeah.
Now, I am in the process of watching that. And sometimes on Sundays, I still like to watch my baseball.
Yeah, it's still, you're reliving moments. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So I just wanted to see, because I never even got to sit down and actually watch the first 6 games of that World Series.
You just kept up with it.
I kept up with it, but yeah, I just never watched it. I mean, I just never actually got to sit down and just watch it live.
Yeah.
But Game 7,
you watched.
that I did. I was at the job doing that stuff.
I understand that. That was very important. I'm sure it was for a lot of people that were Cubs fans at the job too.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't.
Even kids, even little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was up hardcore just like you. I was up hardcore just because, one, I was in support of the Cubs wanting to win it, and I was also waiting for the podcast to start that night. We had a podcast to do that night.
We worked that night too.
Yep, we worked that night, and we had a podcast that night. But you absolutely refused to do a podcast until you knew the outcome of the Cubs and the Indians game. Absolutely.
And not to mentioning them going into extra innings.
That made me crazy.
Nuts.
Oh, that drove me nuts. Yeah, it drove me nuts. I'm sitting at home and I'm looking at the TV and I'm just sitting here looking at this rain just swivel all over the place. I'm like, please let this game continue and be done with it. Why are you tormenting us? Just why? Tell me why you're tormenting us. I just want this game done. I don't even think we got done with that whole night until after midnight. I think we went into November 3rd still doing the podcast.
Still doing the podcast. Yes, we did. We swayed right on over to November 3rd. And I'm going to tell you something about that day, too. That right there, we did the podcast. It's still available. It's on YouTube.
It's there.
It's there.
It's
so
there.
if y'all want to relive that, and I think because we had an NFL podcast to do that day, it just happened to be followed in on when the Cubs won the World Series.
That I believe, I don't remember which episode number it was. It was the second season of our NFL, I believe. No, might have been third.
I think it was
second. It was our second.
Season.
It was our second season. It was our second season. I believe it was, I don't know, episode 4 or 5. I don't remember. I got to look back. I sat there and watched it, and I'm sitting here like, it's actually audio. I don't think
it's audio.
It wasn't video. It was audio.
It was audio on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually.
It wasn't on YouTube. It was.
It did. I looked it up.
Oh, it was on. Oh, it was on YouTube.
Yeah, I even listened to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
You know, it's a shame.
It's on the old account, but it's not on the new one.
We always have to convert over. Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's my ideal Sunday. That's both our ideal Sundays. We just rip back. That's why we love our fun Sunday fun days. Going back and reliving certain moments. I like to relive the Reggie Miller moments. I just relived one recently. Reggie Miller, 57 points versus the Charlotte Hornets.
I never got to sit down and actually watch that game.
I did. I think he really lit it up in the second quarter. I think that's where he really lit it up. Second to the fourth quarter.
So most of his points came in the second quarter?
Most of his points came from the free throw line.
Boy, you couldn't be stopped that night. If that man going to the free throw foul, oh my goodness, he couldn't be stopped.
He got, I think, majority of his points came from the free throw line and field goals, and the less of his points came from 3 points. I need to double check my research on that to make sure I'm right, but I believe most of his points came from the free throw line. Let me take that back. It would be field goals, then field goals, and then free throws. It should be some of that nature. I got to do the research, but yeah.
I also started doing this too, watching the 86-87 Lakers.
Yeah. Excuse me. I did too. I did not like how the Lakers was outrunning the Celtics. That just made me mad. I couldn't get into it. They was tearing Boston up on fast breaks. It drove me nuts.
That tempo, man. That tempo.
But Boston did stop it. And they started a run of their own. Once they stopped them fast breaks, they figured it out. But it was still making me mad.
If you actually sat down and watched the in-depths of after game one, Boston had a practice that day. And all you seen was Larry Bird running all over the arena.
Yep.
That's all he did.
Because he needed his fatigue, for one thing.
He needed his fatigue. He felt that if the reason why that the Lakers are winning this game is because of fatigue, if he could set a tone of some sort, they will have something in this series.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but you know how that is.
Yeah.
And everything else was history.
Yep. Well, there you go. That's Double Take Sports Court. Of all the things that we talked about, Sunday Fun Day, gaming disorder, addictions, and then the NBA age limitation, excuse me. All right, Quiz-mania answer. Let's go ahead and have it. I think I might have it.
You might have it. Okay, there. So, before Derek gets his answer, I'm going to repeat the question. The worst win-loss record to qualify for NBA playoffs. Who is the team? Actually, and you also mentioned the season year also. So, whenever you are getting ready, hit it.
I'm going to do this. I'm I'm going to take my best educated guess, best off the quick research that I did, and this is what I came up with. I came up with the 1953 Baltimore Bullets with a 16-54 record with a .229 winning percentage, and they lost in the Eastern Divisional semifinals.
Yep, the Baltimore Bullets, 1952-1953 year. At the time, the NBA only had 10 teams. So, and Baltimore was in last place, and I think the Knickerbockers was in first.
That's interesting.
Yep, the Baltimore Bullets, 1952-1953 season. They entered the playoffs 16-54. It did not win no games during that playoff era.
They sure didn't. 0-2.
Yep. Yep. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the worst win-loss record to qualify for the NBA playoffs. And also, that is our Quiz-mania answer. And Quiz-mania
Mania
for June
question.
23rd. Or 24th, I should say. I apologize about that. 2018. So, with that being said, moving on to final thoughts. Darren, you have anything for us?
Yep, just real quick. I don't know if you noticed on Instagram and on Twitter, and I don't know if it's on Facebook or not, but
It could be. It has to be sponsored.
So
or I have to share it within my own account. Sorry.
He recently started our gaming stream. We have started it a couple days ago, and we're rolling on it. So we're learning new things, getting out of our comfort zone, being uncomfortable, but in a comfortable way, by playing video games, but actually streaming it to do it. I know we do it a lot on the podcast ourselves, but it's pre-recorded and we just put it out there along the way. We're actually doing
it's a different aspect.
Game. Yes, we're doing live gaming. So it's an aspect that we're still working on. We're still learning, not how to play the video game, but actually learning how to use Twitch and different things like that. If you are a gamer, more than welcome to join us as a part of relaxation nights. There would be nights where I would be doing it by myself. There are nights that Darrell will be doing it by himself at nights. It just depends on when it is. And most of the nights you'll see me and Darrell together actually doing game. Matter of fact, right after this podcast, we are about to jump right on and start up the gaming aspect of Twitch. We would be doing our live stream, and today should be 2K. What we're doing with 2K, we're still discussing that. But hopefully we'll continue to keep on rolling. We'll have more followers. We would like to connect with people, gaming and podcast. So hopefully you can join us, relax, have a good time with gaming with the Watch Brothers. And that's all I have to do.
All right.
You can also find us
you can
on
find us
Twitch at Darren Watch 14. Darrell Watts at Love University would be the same thing on Twitter.
Yep, absolutely.
That's all I have.
All right. Yep. So that's a little fun thing that we just started doing too. So,
Yep.
That's going to be very interesting. How we roll upon it, building from the ground up. No mode.
Yep. No mode.
No mode.
Yeah.
So, yep. We'll be putting posts out there. It's gonna be on. So,
Fine.
we did DGA the last 2 days. Of course, we're doing 2K today. Yeah. So if there is nothing else, we can go ahead and wrap this up and get on out of here.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. That ends another edition of Double Take Sports Talk. If you like what you see, just give this video a thumbs up. And how you feel about today's show, of course, you can comment on the comment section as usual. Of course, we're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit us up there. If you have any questions for us in particular, you can hit us up on those social media sites. Doesn't have to be sports related. Doesn't matter which. Anything in particular. We like them. We'll share them on the show. Of course, we got some good feedback from our Twitch thus far from the first day I posted it. We just keep that up. But also, we're all on iTunes. Download our episodes there. YouTube, subscribe.
But until then, I'm Darrell. Darren's on the opposite side.
Yep.
All righty. Catch up with us on another episode of Double Take Sports Talk. Until then,
Ciao.
ciao. Double Take Sports Talk here with me, Darrell Watts. Now, there's an understatement that always goes, and it's always been true from day one when sports decided to come out, is that it can be very unpredictable. And of course, that's always been the statement, that's always been so true. And depending on how you look at it, it can be very unpredictable. But with Double Take Sports Talk, we just throw some entertainment in there. Even if we don't get predictions right or theories don't come out right, we always just throw a little entertainment into the mix. So why not just have a little fun with it? That's how predicting can be so fun if you make an entertainment out of it. But other than that, of course, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But anyway, we're on social media around the globe here. We're on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can hit us up on our fan page at the Watch Brothers. You can hit us up on Twitter at DTST2414. And of course, you can hit us up on Instagram, Double Take Sports Talk. So, YouTube, subscribe. You can share. You can do all the good stuff. Do anything that you like. We're just trying to grow a podcast here, folks. We're also on the iTunes. You can download our episodes there. We're on the video, of course, and we're on the audio portion too. So either way that you can enjoy this podcast, you can do it audio, we do it on video. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the podcast. And until then, ciao.